7:01. We'll start off with the introduction of members. We'll start off with Kyle. We'll start off with Kyle.
Introduce yourself.
Kyle Welch.
Valerie Fanger.
Keith Whitehouse.
Trevor Matera.
Connor Addison.
Nick Campion.
Kristen Murphy, and I think we have some online attendees.
We do. If I have to do something here.
Can you click on participants?
I see Bill on. And Michelle is in as an attendee.
I'm on. I think I've got you.
Perfect. We hear you.
Okay.
And did you say Michelle was there?
Michelle's an attendee, but she hasn't been put onto a panelist yet.
Okay.
Do you concur?
Okay. I think we can catch up.
Okay. I guess I have to officially say it. We'll open this up. Do we have to open it for public comment?
Yep. And then
We'll open it. Don't see anybody here. So we can close that one pretty quickly. So on to the action items. Oh, Michelle, have you joined? I'm trying. That's all right. So action items, the first one is a consideration of an alternate/voting member change.
So just for some background, at the last meeting, Kyle approached me with an interest of stepping aside to an alternate to allow an alternate to step up as voting member. I reached out to the alternates that we have based on, appointment seniority, I guess. I hate to use that term. So Bill and Don wanted to remain alternates. And then I reached out to Valerie, who was next on the list, and Valerie is interested and willing to serve as a voting member. Correct, Valerie? Yes, happy to hear that. So it would be helpful if the commission would just endorse that decision. Ultimately, what would happen for you, Kyle and Valerie, is you'll need to resign from your current position,
Okay.
and then you'll be immediately reappointed in the same meeting.
Okay.
So I would send a memo to the select board indicating that. They would do that at their next meeting, as long as you are both okay with that.
Okay.
And then I think it would be helpful in that memo to indicate that the Conservation Commission is supportive of that move.
That sounds great. Thank you, Valerie, and for stepping up. Do we need a motion for any of that?
I think it would be helpful just to document the endorsement of that.
Okay. Does anybody want to do it? I can do it. All right. So I motion to. Do we have to write a letter or anything, or just?
So I would perhaps say it this way: just move to endorse the proposed modification of appointments for Valerie and Kyle, to move Valerie as a voting member and Kyle to an alternate position.
That works. So I propose to move to endorse the alternative and voting member change of moving Valerie from an alternative member to a voting member, and from Kyle to a voting member to an alternate member.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opportunity for.
Who are voting members today? Do we know that?
So we don't have set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So everyone here, I would think, is a voting member, and then we should bring one person in, and if Bill is the only one we can hear.
I think Bill is the only one we can hear. We have Michelle and Sean on as an attendee, but I have not been able to work out moving them to a panelist.
So in that case, since we have an online participant, we should roll call vote. And I'd be happy to call names if you want. Sorry for that.
Bringing it to the COVID times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. If you want to lead the roll call, that would be perfect.
Okay. Kyle Welch,
Aye.
Valerie Fanger,
Aye.
Keith Whitehouse,
Aye.
Trevor Matera,
Aye.
Connor Madison,
Aye.
Nick Campion,
Aye.
and Bill Campbell. How do you vote?
Aye.
Great. Unanimous. 7-0.
Thank you. Motion moved. Congratulations, Valerie.
Tell me the secret handshake.
Hey, Bill, I think you might be watching TV in the background. If you could either mute that or just keep yourself muted when you're not talking in that way, because we can hear the TV in the background. Thanks.
And Bob Michelle's on the.
Yeah, so I did ask her to unmute and also promote her to a panelist, but she keeps hitting decline. So I don't know if she wants to talk.
She refuses.
She can raise her hand again and she can unmute herself.
All right, wicked good. Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's funny to hear. I think, honestly, that was the majority. So then we're on to the committee reports. So property management would be where we start, I suppose.
I didn't have anything to bring forward unless you wanted some updates on Rains or others, but things are still in process from the last place that we left off. I believe at the last meeting you were aware that LGT Restoration had started doing the west and north side of the barn, so we have two contractors out there simultaneously.
Is there an ETA on when that might be complete?
LGT is moving ahead quickly. Steve Bedard anticipates requesting an extension. We currently have, so he's close to finishing up the south side. If you look at it, he's good from the west on the south side, the west side to about a little bit more than midway. There's some additional work that needs to happen there. Then the whole east side has some is almost full replacement. It's possible replacement will go faster. We have the silo. We are having a protective coating applied to the silo. It won't be paint. It's just a protective coating. That should go on almost any day now. And then there's some minor interior work, some additional flooring. The subfloor is done, I think, everywhere in that worst bay, which was the southwest bay. The subfloor is done, but the final floor level is still remaining to be completed.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? I didn't have anything on that, so thank you for that update. For outreach items, I see Kyle, there's a proposed hike challenge.
Yeah, what I want to do is, I'm calling it Hike Exeter. And if anybody's familiar with the AMC runs 48 4,000 footers, you hike all the 4,000 footers in New Hampshire, you get a patch. And it's a very, very popular program. And so my vision is to do the same thing here in Exeter. So I've picked 6 different hikes that you can do all on, mostly on Exeter conservation properties. And I've got maps of them in there. And the plan is that if people hike all 6 of them, then they would become a member of the Hike Exeter Club. And we're gonna, instead of patches, we're gonna do stickers, which seem to be popular right now. And so I guess this will be open to anyone, not just Exeter residents. And I guess I would envision that once people completed all 6, I have an application form they have to fill out about the time when they did each of the hikes and maybe a little description about it, any wildlife they saw or what the conditions were, and they have to submit it. And I guess that's one thing about how they would submit it, like if it would be to Kristen, I guess, the Conservation Commission. And then once they're approved, then I guess I would love to be able to have the people either, they could get the stickers in the mail if they wanted to, or they could come to the next Conservation Commission, and maybe as a first item, we could kind of recognize those people and hand out the stickers. And like I said, it's available to anyone. Dogs are eligible too. I don't have a separate sticker in mind for the dogs yet. And then I would also like to start a Facebook page, which I don't think it would be affiliated with the Exeter Town Facebook page, but it would just be a Hike Exeter page, and the point of it would be just for people to share pictures of themselves on the hike. If they have questions, they could crowdsource the answer, the questions, and hopefully just kind of a community for other people that hike in Exeter. And hopefully this will get more people out there on a lot of the great trail systems that we have that I hike on a lot, and I don't see as many people as I'd love to see out there. And you're allowed to do it walking, running. You can do it on a bike in the places where bikes are legal, cross-country ski, snowshoe, really up to the person that's doing it.
And what are those 6 hikes, Kyle?
Well,
Should I pull up the maps?
we
or-
have maps of, I did maps of them all, but I can describe them while she's bringing them up. The first one is in Henderson Swayze. They're all between 2 and 4 miles, basically, and you know, there's the Henderson Swayze one that would leave out of 3CI, which is kind of over by the rinks. There's another one that leaves out of Watson Road. That's the red loop basically over there north of 101. There's the Jolly Rand Trail. There's QB Road, which is sort of over by towards the high school, kind of over there, and it goes from the road, the high school is kind of next to the high school out to basically where Vernon Farms is. And then there's one along from Gilman Park to the water treatment along the river there. It's just an out and back, and then there's another one that's in Phillips Exeter Woods. So these are the maps of them all, kind of right here. And so I need to kind of make these maps a little more, I guess, followable to someone who's just kind of navigating only by the map. I thought about maybe some kind of blazing, but I don't really want to add any more stuff out there. So hopefully the maps will be sufficient, and if not, maybe we can revisit that. Yeah, and if it's successful, then I could see adding other challenges. For example, there's this thing called redlining, which is where you would do all the trails in a certain area, and then you would draw a red line on the ones you've done. So you could redline Henderson Swayze, and that would mean that it doesn't have to be all in one day. It could be as long as you want it to take, but you just mark the parts that you hike each time until anyways, and then it would be something like redline the rock or something. There's a lot of, we do a 4-season Hike Exeter challenge where you hike all the 6 hikes in all the 4 seasons of the year or whatever. There's a lot of different ways we can go. But initially, just see if we can get people to do all 6 of them. And and that's my little application right there where I filled it out.
Wheeler did great.
So, yeah, that's my dog.
It's so funny.
She's an excited one. But anyways, so in order to make this happen, what I'm asking, I guess, is up to $300 in order to make the stickers that we're going to hand out. And, well, can you bring up the thing I sent you for the... And so we do have some Exeter conservation hike stickers, but I wanted to make these unique just so that the only way you can get one is if you complete the challenge. So, well, it's...
All right.
I'm just checking to see if you can hear me now.
We can hear you.
Okay. I'm on my phone and my computer. Okay.
And so and I think that would probably work as a bumper sticker, or a lot of, like, my kids love to put them on their water bottles, and
Yeah, that's cool.
Love
That
it.
looks good.
and it would be kind of a cool thing where hopefully if someone saw someone with them, they'd, hey, what is that? And get more people out there and everything. But,
And so we do have other stickers, but we tend to hand those out for stewardship activities. So this would be some way to kind of separate that out as its own unique purpose.
And I think that, like, the other stickers along the bottom, kind of following the curve, it says Exeter Conservation Commission, and I was talking to Kristen, and we'll add that to this sticker also. So,
Very cool. Cool idea.
get a little prep.
Kyle, I have a question.
Sure.
Are you going to put this also on the conservation website?
I think we'll probably use that to advertise, just to initially. And certainly, like, we'll try and direct people.
A link?
Challenge and have the guidelines there maybe. But ultimately, I think a lot of the people would be communicating through the Facebook page.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
Me too.
Even so, I've never hiked QB Road. So I even found out one that
Yeah.
I haven't done, so.
Well, that one's kind
I
of a
think this
fun
would
one
be
because it's
great.
just basically, it's the easiest one. It's like very flat and it goes literally right to Vernon Family Farms there. And it's very peaceful.
Yeah, there's a nice field there too that you can take a right into that
Nice
goes
field.
down to,
There's
yeah, it goes down to the Scassock River. You
Yeah.
stand right on the river. It's very
ponds
beautiful.
you kind of go over and around and
Yep.
hopefully not through. But I guess hopefully a lot of people will be like, hey, like I had no idea that was even there for a lot of these places. And you know, I often see people saying, hey, I have like my family coming to town, what should I do? And you know, so this way, hopefully this will give people some ideas.
I love it.
And I'm sure we'll get some crazy people that are gonna like do it all in a day or whatever, you know, so but great,
So be it.
yeah. So, anyway,
So-
do I make the motion then, or? So I guess I'd like to make a motion that I can spend up to $300 to have the stickers printed, in order to start the challenge.
Second that.
And we'll do another roll call
Oh, sorry.
vote
Yep.
then?
Yeah. So, we'll stick with the same voting.
I think that's easiest. yeah.
Okay, so Kyle Welch,
Aye.
Valerie Fanger,
Aye.
Keith Whitehouse,
Hi.
Trevor Matera,
Aye.
Connor Madison,
Aye.
Nick Campion,
Aye.
Bill Campbell.
Aye,
Okay. Unanimous.
aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, Bill.
And then I guess as far as the time frame, like I guess once we get the maps and everything, I think we could pretty much start even before we get any stickers or anything like that. Although, you know, hopefully nobody finishes it too quickly. But yeah, I'd love to get people to. The trails are great right now. The mosquitoes are mostly gone. The deer flies are gone, and this is just a great time of year to be out there. The afternoon light, pretty amazing.
Indeed.
So let's get people out there.
That's awesome.
Scroll. That is great. So another motion down. On to other committee reports. Do we have anything from the tree survey program?
Yeah, if you're
Sorry
good
if I'm
with
skipping
it, so
ahead.
That's perfect. So as you know, the tree committee advocated, their subcommittee to the Conservation Commission. They advocated for additional funding in last year's this current year's budget for Public Works in order to make some equipment purchases, some additional funding for trees, arborist training for our Public Works staff. And then there was a chunk of money set aside for a contract to develop basically a web or app-based tree inventory app and create a dashboard so that as we inventory all of our street trees and identify any maintenance needs of those trees, Public Works can then pull up the dashboard and on any given day could say, all right, which trees need pruning, and go out, make the changes, update, that they pruned it, and it would keep our tree inventory current. We did conduct a tree inventory in 2017, but it really was kind of like an on-the-shelf sort of approach. We had it in GIS, but there's some compatibility issues, so we're sort of having to kind of, clean out the closet and start fresh. So so I'll pull it up so everyone can see it.
Let's see.
Right, so we worked with Rockingham Planning Commission. We had a contract with them to develop this. Basically, it's all developed in ArcGIS Online. And so on the town's website, our goal is to solicit volunteers to help with the inventory process. I should have said that in the beginning. So anyone could pick up their phone with a few clicks, download the app, Survey 123, and go out and walk a street and document trees, species, and condition. Thankfully, Google is pretty sophisticated now, or photos in general on any phone. So if you take a picture of a tree, you get pretty darn close to what the actual species is. So right now on our on the website, we have a web page dedicated to the tree inventory that has a training guide. So it's an online story map that walks individuals through the process of where to inventory, how to get the app, etc. It has the app itself. And so this is what it would look like. Basically, if you pulled it up on your phone, you could locate yourself using, this little compass symbol. But once you zoom into wherever you are, you see the property boundary line. So you're able to tell while you're walking the street if you're actually looking at a tree that's within the town's right-of-way versus one that's in someone's property, because our goal is to keep this focused on public trees, so those within the town's right-of-way. And then the data that we're collecting is pretty simple. Some of it is auto-populated, like day and time. We're collecting whether there's an empty site, an existing tree, a newly planted tree, a stump, or other. Some general rough size categories for the diameter at breast height, an approximation of the height of the tree, some additional information, common name. We have some populated in there, but like I said, through the training program, we're hoping that people will just use their photo app in their cell phones and get pretty close to the species. There is an unknown option, so we could then follow up later and populate that. Whether there's any physical damage, disease or pest damage, does it need pruning? Are there utility wires? Are they conflicting? Root damage in the curb, and then some photos. So that'll also help us sort of verify some of the data. So our hope, and I will pull up the dashboard. This is what Public Works will have. It's not great right now because there's not a lot of trees in the inventory, but basically they'll have tree health indicators. You could sort by DBH or height. That's helpful for Public Works because sometimes they might need to have a contractor come in if a tree is over a certain height. Total number of trees, and a whole bunch of other things that you could sort by. And then obviously as you zoom in, so if they wanted to create a list of those that need maintenance, they could do that here and then print it off from their from their computer, and then send the crews out. So the plan right now is to, it's kind of an open call for volunteers, and folks can reach out to me directly, kmurphy@exeternh.gov. And I'll do individual training. The tree committee had a table at the polls today, and they were getting quite a few people signed up. So if the numbers are big enough, maybe I'll do a couple group training events depending on people's availability. But I guess I'm hoping that either one, you'll participate, two, you'll spread the word and help us populate the inventory. But hopefully it's something that remains dynamic and current, and we keep it updated as we go through our tree maintenance process and continued plantings.
Great.
Kristen,
Yeah.
what defines if a tree is, does it have to be all on the public right of way, or?
That's a great question. So that's a great question. Ideally, what we've been telling the volunteers who have trialed it is if it's close, just collect it. There's really no harm in having more data than we need. I'd rather do that than have to go back out and recollect it go back out and add additional data. So it's easier to collect it while you're out there. I do think that in terms of maintenance and who's responsible for maintaining something, it really depends on where it's rooted. So sometimes it's a call on Public Works' behalf. For the most part, if it's rooted in private property, the town is not responsible for maintenance. But there are some exceptions to that.
And then how does this get updated as work gets done?
So there's a whole nother side to this that only Public Works and I have access to. We don't put it on the website, but basically it's an editor version of that. So they can go in, and so when the crews are out there and they say they limb, do some pruning or some new tree planting, they can go in there and they can edit what was existing, like the stump or the empty spot, or add a whole new tree, and then it updates the full inventory because it's all one active database. But we didn't want the editor side open to the public, obviously.
For sure. And then I guess just sort of carrying the stuff forward. So the public goes out and we inventory all the trees, and we have like sort of, initial conditions. And Public Works can then go into the dashboard and say like, okay, these are the trees that need some work and that kind of thing. Is there like a round 2? Like
To resurvey?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my ideal would be we adopt streets, right? And so we have like a steward of a tree enthusiast who's a steward for, Front Street from X road to X road. I'm hoping that maybe that will be part of the generation of the volunteers who come out and do the inventory. I don't know yet. The town will always have the responsibility of maintaining our trees, but at least this way, when we plant something new, the town has a role to play in all of those stages. So when we plant something new, we should be aware of it. When a tree comes down, we should be aware of it. And at all of those stages, if we make those updates as we go along, I think it'll stay current. But it
Awesome.
would be great if we had a tree steward, so to look for things like pruning needs, for example.
Yep. Very cool. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by playing with this, the tree inventory. That's just looking around. They color code it if it's in poor tree health or good health, and
Yeah.
it's really
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a great job. The other beautiful thing about this is Dakota Bailey with Rockingham Planning Commission is the GIS technician who prepared this, or GIS staff who prepared this. He's actually leaving RPC, and so I was worried initially that we'd kind of lose the ability to maintain it because I have no idea how to work it. But the town has a new GIS coordinator, which is just fantastic. Heather Shea started at Public Works, so she's very familiar with ArcGIS Online and Arc dashboards, and so she was involved in the early presentations of this and has had communications with Dakota, so it should be a pretty seamless transition, which is great.
Awesome. Well, very cool. I will stop playing with this thing now. That was a great update. Thank you. Any other committee report items?
There was one other thing I wanted to mention. Well, I guess a couple. So the Energy Committee has several events coming up from now until the winter. So in September is the Electric Vehicle Demonstration Day, which they tend to do each year at Town Hall. This year, Green Wave Electric, which is the used electric vehicle dealership in Northampton, I think it is, will be there. So we are looking for people who have electric vehicles. If you want to come and show it off and give other people an idea of what, talk to them about what it's like to own an electric vehicle, that would be great. Or if you just want to attend yourself and kind of get a sense for different makes and models, they tend to have the Tesla truck that goes around, show up, and some other things. So that is in September, and I don't have the dates on the top of my head, but they'll all be on the Energy Committee's web page as well as the town's calendar. And then in November, the Energy Committee is hosting a button-up workshop, and that's a workshop where you come and you learn all the different ways that you can improve the energy efficiency of your home, and they go through rebates and all of that stuff. That'll be at the public library. And then the other one that I've talked about in the past is the community build for the window inserts through the Window Dressers nonprofit program. They are soliciting people who want the window inserts now. If you're interested, you can sign up on our webpage, but the build will be held in January over Martin Luther King weekend, also out at Town Hall. So I wanted to highlight that. The other event that's coming up this fall, the Sustainability Advisory Committee is hoping to coordinate with the Exeter High School's Environmental Club. Every year they host an electronics recycling event, and we're hoping to, at the same time, do a styrofoam collection event where we have a box truck, we fill a box truck, and then that gets hauled off to Guilford for recycling. And we're hoping to kind of dovetail those two events together. If not, we'll have them as separate, but we think it would be cool to partner with the high school on that. And that is sort of a precursor and maybe a teaser to an item that we hope will show up on the town ballot this year, and that's to purchase our own styrofoam recycling unit here to put it out at the transfer station. So year-round, residents and people from the general area could bring their styrofoam for recycling, which I think I've talked about here before. And if I haven't, I could talk a little bit more about that.
I think you might have, but could
Yeah.
you go through it? Because I can't remember.
Yeah, so it's actually a really cool system. Styrofoam is full of a lot of air, and that's why it's so lightweight. And so the budget item is to purchase, it's basically a container, and in the container, there's a condenser unit, and then storage space. And so the condenser unit takes bulky styrofoam, crumples it up, heats it up, and then produces like a coil that then you can sell on the market, just like we do aluminum cans or cardboard. And so from the community's perspective, we would be able to sell that as a commodity. We also would not be putting a ton of lightweight, bulky stuff in our trash, and could ultimately save in hauling fees because our dumpsters would be heavier and not full of a bunch of light stuff that shouldn't be there. There was another component to it. So we can sell it as a commodity. We'll have savings for the dumpster, and then just ultimately residents have something to do with their styrofoam. So it includes that plus a collection bin that we can place somewhere, either at the transfer station or somewhere else in town for people to drop their styrofoam in
I know
throughout the year.
it's preliminary, but what's like the ballpark on?
Yeah, so it's about $80,000, but there is there's a styrofoam recycling grant that's out there that Guilford was successful in obtaining and felt it was they're trying to promote these throughout the state, so they thought it was a pretty easy low bar to obtain the grant, and the grant is $50,000. So ultimately, for $30,000, we could have this in our community. And the model that was actually developed by Guilford Public Works, there's a fantastic woman there who's really forward-thinking, is sort of this hub and spoke model where you have these hub communities like Guilford, for example, for the Lakes region, or us for the Seacoast region, where people from all over can bring their styrofoam to us. And so that's good for us because we can process it and sell it. It's also good for the region because every community doesn't need one of these. So I'm hoping that we can sort of get in ahead of the curve and bring this to Exeter.
Very cool. Question, just out of curiosity, the people that are buying it as a commodity, like what are they using it for?
So basically and I don't know the process, but they puff it back up and mold it into styrofoam packaging.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how lucrative is selling this stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, so not super lucrative, but it's more lucrative than, say, cardboard, which we already collect and sell, but not quite as lucrative as aluminum cans. And I have those numbers. I just don't. I'm not a numbers head
Like, will it be
person.
self-sustaining? Like, will it pay for itself, the program,
Yeah.
once we purchase the equipment?
Yeah, it's pretty low lift in terms of staffing. You don't need processing all the time. You know, you can stockpile it in that bin, nice and secure, and process it periodically. So Public Works doesn't think they'd need additional staff to support it. So it's really just basically trying to offset a $30,000, ultimately, a $30,000 cost should we get the $50,000 grant.
Would this be like a warrant article?
Yep. Yeah, so far, I've not been before the budget committee on it, but I have 2 items that I've proposed, that and public EV charging. So far, the town manager has said that his hope is that they each are individual warrant articles for residents to vote on, so, versus lumped in with some of the other items.
Is that recycler able to take other materials? Because one thing is the plastic bags.
No, it's not. The only thing that it does is styrofoam, yeah. But that's one less thing, right?
Yeah, thank you. I know you have mentioned it, but I don't think in that length, so.
Okay, yeah. It's good to take advantage of some gaps in applications to
Right.
catch everyone up.
It's been some crazy months. Anything else? I know we have, what you hit? You just hit energy, tree,
River Study Committee.
River
Trevor,
Study.
when? They haven't met, right?
No, I think that's coming up. September, I think they are meeting.
The tree committee has been planting trees all over with Public Works and Parks and Rec support. The next planting will be on, I think, the 19th, and there's 2 spots on Water Street, right in front of maybe the Salt Caves or thereabouts, that currently are bricked over, but there are tree boxes in there, so those will be re-excavated, a tree planted, and then the protective grate over it. So those 2, I think it's in a couple weeks, but if you're interested, I can share the date and time for the planting for those. They're also moving some Liberty elms that were planted by the library. The site is not great for the size that Liberty elms will become, so those we're proposing at the moment to move them in front of Access Sports on Hampton Road. Pretty wide area, pretty treeless, so that could be a great spot for some larger trees.
So does that mean that location is town?
It is where we're talking about.
Where the
So
sidewalk is?
yeah, so there's a section that that we're avoiding in the event that someday, should the town ever put a signal on Holland Way, and this is not in the works, so, don't worry about a signal going there just yet, but just in case when you're planting a tree, you want to invest years and years out. So it's a little bit further around the corner, closer to the rec park, I guess. So those at least, and I think there's another planting too, but those are the at least looming.
Is something going to go back into the library?
Yeah, so we're still trying to decide what, but there was a request from folks affiliated with the library to replace some lilacs, because some lilacs came out. And it's near the equipment.
Right.
So we don't want anything that drops fruit, and I don't know, there's some back and forth over what will be the right tree there.
Okay.
I have faith
Yeah, we'll get
that you will
there.
navigate those politics.
And I did forget one more thing that I actually called out on the agenda, or we did, the Seacoast Green Challenge. So Exeter, through the Energy Committee, is sort of in this friendly competition with Seacoast towns to see who can have the greatest number of residents opted up for more than just the baseline for renewable energy content. So when Exeter signed on to Community Power, all our residents were transferred to use community power as the supplier. And the percent of renewable content is about 20, I think it's 23 or 27%. That's the standard that Unitil offers, and so we came in at that same standard level. We're trying to encourage people to opt up to a higher percentage of renewable content. It's really just a couple pennies more a kilowatt hour, or portions of a penny more a kilowatt hour, and I have those rates on the town's website if you're interested. But we're hoping to have like a little friendly challenge. Dover, Portsmouth, I think, I don't know, Newington, Newmarket, and some others. And I feel like we can beat them.
When does that go until?
It goes until January.
I almost think that's something that could be talked about at like the EV day.
Yeah.
For example, we switched up to it, but I didn't actually carefully analyze the finances. I wonder if there's a simple way for us to get a statement of like solar panels, which a lot of people want to do as an investment. And I know paying more for electricity is not an investment,
Right.
but if one of your goals is to get on renewable,
Right.
how long it takes? Generally, they say 8 years for solar panels to pay off. I think it can be longer than that even. So if that's compelling to people as opposed to getting solar panels.
Sort of like an immediate return on investment versus.
Yeah, you just do it and then, but I don't know how many people, for how many people it's just a financial decision versus
Yeah.
like a
Well, it's interesting.
environmental one.
It seems as though, just in talking to people, the Energy Committee's been tabling at different areas and events recently, and it sounds like it's just like people just kind of slipped into that because that was the default and no one really paid attention, and people don't even really realize that we're on community power. So we're trying to push marketing. We do advertise the Seacoast Go Green at the tabling, Go Green Challenge at the tabling. It's been discussed, at the select board, and there was a biweekly report and I think a video on it as well. So we're trying to get the word out. I thought about maybe like an open door day where I just have a couple office hours, days set up where I can help people. You bring your bill in and we do it. But I haven't really gotten that organized yet, but that could be another way.
It's just that thing where 93% of people are going to take whatever the default is.
Yeah.
But I guess you can't slip in and say, yeah, the default's the 70%
Yeah.
plan because they'd be paying more.
Yeah.
Nobody would like that.
Well, in different communities, it was the community's choice for what level you wanted to default
To be the
people
default.
at.
Okay.
Exeter chose to stay the same as Unitil because we were early on in that transition town, in that small group of transitioning towns, and we were still sort of exploring the people's appetite for it. But opt up if you don't, because for me, we just had to replace our roof, but for me at home, we had an old roof. I can't put solar on it, so it was a great way. And sorry, but I ticked one for Dover, but it was a great way to to still feel like I am making a difference without really needing to upgrade my roof and solar panels.
Yep, I'm all upped up.
Great.
Yep, we are too.
Great. All right, so tell your friends, because we need to win.
No doubt.
We all win.
The next item looks like approval of meeting minutes from August 13th. I gave them a read through. I think they were well done. I didn't have anything.
And I think names are all spelled properly.
Names are spelled properly. Everything is, and I forgot this is kind of a longer meeting, so. So I motion to approve these meeting minutes as written.
Second.
And then are we doing a roll call for this one as well? So we'll do a
Yep.
roll call for,
So Kyle Welch,
Hi.
Valerie Fanger,
Aye.
Keith Whitehouse,
Aye.
Trevor Matera,
Aye.
Connor Madison,
aye.
Nick Campion,
Aye.
Bill Campbell,
Aye.
unanimous.
Unanimous vote. I don't know if we need to touch on, I did go to the planning board for the
Oh,
last
yeah.
meeting.
Sure.
For the Foss Motors application we saw.
Yeah.
The applicant actually revised their application, so it's not a phased approach, but it is just a reduction. So they took the building out as a whole, and it will just be the parking lot, with the knowledge that if they do propose a building in the future, they'll have to redo this, go through the permitting process again. The planning board did grant the parking lot as proposed in the application that we saw, so we will be seeing a parking lot and no building for that application.
Yeah, and so did you feel like it was helpful for you to be there? Like, did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I recommend sending a Conservation Commission member when we can. It's definitely helpful. There's a lot of talk of what was happening at the Conservation Commission meeting, and it was nice to be there in person to actually speak our opinions to the planning board, who they have great respect for us. So it was nice to see all of us working together, and the applicant. I think it was a good compromise.
Great. Thanks for doing that.
Well done.
So with that, with
Before
the
you
next.
adjourn, I have one item. Is that what
Oh
you're going to?
man,
Sorry.
that was the gavel's right there. Yes, one more item.
So it's just one thing, just an update that I got today. So Drew was unable to be here today. He ended up getting into a car accident on his bike this morning. He will be okay, but is in the hospital and is expected to be there a couple days. But so please send your healing energy his way and all of that. His wife reached out and said he was really disappointed he couldn't be here tonight. So,
That's incredible.
yeah. So if you're a biker,
We wish
please
him
be
well.
careful because people are not paying attention.
Especially in the morning, that
Yeah.
sun glare. Yeah.
Yep. But it
You
sounds
hope him
like
the
he'll
best.
make a decent recovery. So,
That's good.
Good.
yeah.
Heal up, Drew.
Thank you for that update. Yeah, I saw Drew was unable to attend. Send well wishes, but I did not think.
Oh, I gave you my copy.
Yeah, you gave me a little note. Any additional correspondence?
Just one item. I know it came up at the last meeting. So the Volvo Kia dealership, that application was scheduled to be heard at the last meeting. They pulled at the last second. I was a little worried because the clock was ticking on the state's application. We submitted a request for extension, and I did find out before this agenda was posted, the extension was granted, so that will buy us enough time to get to the next meeting. It's unclear to me if the applicant will be coming forward or not at that time. The owner wanted to defer any discussion to the wetland scientist who was out of town until today. So I hope to connect with her tomorrow and kind of figure out what the plan may be there.
It's a tricky one. Keep us updated. Michelle, I see you have your hand up.
Kristen, will there be a site walk for that?
Yeah, I think we should hold a site walk for that property, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to do that,
Yeah.
despite how thick and thorny it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a tangle, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
My understanding was the applicant was amenable to that as well.
I mean, we had a site walk scheduled last month, so I assume, we'd be in the same boat.
Perfect. Good to hear. Anything else before So with that, I motion to, I actually don't know if I've ever motioned to adjourn the meeting, but we have to, right?
Yeah, and you can actually declare it adjourned, so we don't have to roll call
I
vote
can
for
just,
this one.
can I declare it right now? Can I just say I
course.
declare?
Going to his head.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah. So no motion. I didn't know I had that
Move to
power.
adjourn, yeah.
Yeah. So just move to adjourn at 7:52 with the next meeting October 8th with a submission deadline of September 27th. Gavel bang.
Thank
all.
you for tuning in
Thank you.
to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.